come on up.
Step up front, if you please, and just identify yourself, name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Robin Shaw. I live in Seminole, 10970 Oakdale Terrace in the Seminole area, and I do ride the Route 58 to and from Monday through Friday, have been for about 9 years now, and I'm concerned with my bus family that I had heard rumor a couple days before the board meeting that they were talking about canceling us once again. So I scrambled and I received over 100 signatures just from my route alone, my bus family, and I would want to share that with you because they also wrote their name and address and a little bit about themselves so y'all could get to know members of your community that rely on this daily to get to work, to get back home, to go to the hospital, to go to the school. When I was at the meeting, one of your members stood up and for all of you and said that it was unanimous that you recommended the cancellation of 4 routes, and one being the route that I ride with my bus family in my community. It rides down that Bryan-Derry corridor, which I just found out is just another sewer line to get traffic from one to the other. But over 100 of us in your community, we pay taxes, ad valorem taxes, to try and keep this route running for us. I have another 22 years to work. I've worked at Raytheon for 30 years already, and I would like to pursue a career and keep that career with Raytheon. I am unable to drive because I do have Tourette's and spinal stenosis and spondylosis in my neck. I can't do a lot of things, but I do walk without a cane now because I didn't give up on myself, and I beg of you not to give up on my route and advise them to cancel the 58. I do have these signatures. I would love for you to get to know your community members, 100 of us. And also I have another 100 to the tune of 200 individuals that work at the county building at the Star Center, 100 individuals.
Should I take it?
If you want a copy from that too, this is really written down all the way over to 4. That rides the 58 personally. This here is the 100 just from the Star Center of potential riders because they love the idea of not having to pay insurance and tag and car payment. So they love that idea to ride the bus, but without the bus, they're not going to be able to.
Okay, thank you.
I know that the funding is tight. I know it's great that we have, shirts being paid for by, all of us, taxes and stuff. And the Looper, I love the idea of electric buses down there, but it's free. You can come up with some money. I don't see how that should be free.
We will take your comments under advisement. Thank you so much.
And Ms. Shaw, I'm just going to say for this group, they didn't support the cuts. They supported bringing the cuts to the board to let the recommendations to the board so that they can decide.
Right, and you recommended it. That's why I wanted you to read everyone in your community that thinks differently.
Thank you.
All right, and we have another fellow.
There's a 3-minute time limit.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, my name's Mark Shaw. I live at 10970 Oakdale Terrace in Seminole. She's my wife. I'm pretty much just here to basically support her. I ride the same bus, and I work at ConMed right next to the Bardmore Hospital. And I've been riding that bus since 2009. I began riding it in May when I had a car accident, and I haven't been able to drive since then. So it's been very convenient because I myself used to work at Raytheon, and it used to drop me off right in front of the building where I worked at. And since then, I started working at ConMed, which is just down the street from it as far as that goes. And the biggest problem that I had with the fact that I was to lose the 58 is I would not be able to make it to work on time. And the inconvenience would just be too much because of the fact that, like I said, I can't drive or anything like that. And Uber it would be convenient, but it would just be so much more expensive as far as that goes. I know at one time when I first started riding the 58 bus, there was, it used to actually make it all the way down to the beach. It used to go down to the beach in the beginning. And I understand, Seminole Mall started to die out and probably lost a lot of those riders, but I don't know if y'all have been to the Seminole Mall since its renewal. But there are a lot of people there, and I would almost suggest that you try running it again out to the beaches, and I'm sure that you would wind up getting a lot more riders as far as that goes. And to reiterate what she was talking about with that looper, we have a hard time understanding why it's a lot easier to have a bus that's running free downtown all the time and to basically just let go of 300 on the average for our bus, 300 paying riders, 12 months a year, just brush them under the rug, but yet we can let tourists come in and ride for free downtown all day long, all week long. And yet, still, we talk about, oh, there's a budget problem right now. Well, if we started charging them even just $1 a ride for every person that rode that, it would probably make a big difference. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
And the comment will be considered.
Thank you.
Next, in the chair's absence, I will read the chair report by Mark O'Hara, which is not that piece of paper. It's right here. I had it in order. Over the course of the past month, the employees and board members of PSTA have been busy. Here are a few key points I'd like to mention. First, at the February board meeting, Commissioner Patty Johnson spoke of efforts being conducted by the local coordinating board. Members of this board are lobbying in Tallahassee for additional transit funding. Also, the board meeting, Brad discussed in detail the possible repercussions of budget shortfalls. The board is very concerned about these service cuts. Brad also pointed out options for obtaining additional funds from non-paying cities in Pinellas County. In addition to the board meeting, it was announced that PSTA Marketing Department received 3 awards at American Public Transit Association Conference. They are Best Educational Special Event, which is called Happy Hour, Launching Transit App. The next one is Best Shoestring Tactic to Highlight Transit Needs, funding TRAC Star Award. And the third is Best Partnership to Increase Ridership or Sales, Spring Break Partnership. Our congratulations go out to the team. Please make sure you take the PSTA survey for ABBG emailed to you by Marianne. Thank you.
And your award, by the way, in case you didn't quite get that, this is the American, which means not just United States, North American Public Transportation Association, and that award won over U.S. and Canada and our territories as well. Your TRAC Star Award, so that was pretty neat.
Next is a brief forward Pinellas report by David.
And keep it brief. I'm getting better each month. I'll remind you, our meeting is in 3 days, so this is from 28 days ago. And it's kind of exciting. Gloria, our previous president, moved up and is now sitting on that board. That's really cool. And I think you'll find that if you're interested in transit, at some point you sort of figure out transit requires good roads and sort of a more generic thing. And so often folks will start coming up to the master MPO, the planning organization, and sit there. It's my honor, again, to serve there. We did get a presentation many times. We get a presentation here, and then the MPO also gets the same presentation, so I just sit through it quietly. But one of the things they've been focusing on is the state, in order to get a grant, anytime you increase a road, even if you're just putting in a sidewalk, you need to prove that you've addressed pedestrian safety or crashes, fatalities, that you're going to do something to lower fatalities, even 0.1%, that you've done something. And they took the attitude that said we should be going for 0 fatalities. I mean, obviously you're never going to get there, but none. And so they've been focusing on pedestrian and bike fatalities and what are we doing to stop it, and curbs and bike paths and all this stuff. And it's really inspiring to me because people get killed all over the place. And again, I'd be glad to show you, we get a map with little red X's and little blue circles of where people got run over or head-on collisions and things. And it's very sobering, but it's good to know that we've got a whole team of people there at Court Street that are looking at that and working at ways. The one in this month now, they're starting to say about right turn on red, where should they be stopped, and the like. And so that's what my takeaway from that was. We had several things that folks talked about. We always talk about these plans and get all kinds of presentations like we do here. But that's very inspiring that we're looking at pedestrian fatalities, bike fatalities, and how to curb them. And the biggest one is with this new concept of complete streets. Narrowing, slowing, even if you just get a tree canopy, people drive slower. If you drive slower and you hit somebody, you injure them. If you hit them at 45, you kill them. And so people just drive the speed limit. You can enforce the speed limit with a cop with a radar gun, but you can also enforce it just by having the lanes be a little smaller. And people naturally drive slower, less fatalities and the like. So it's good. It's just very inspiring to attend and hear those presentations. There, I'm done.
That's amazing. Thank you. Next, first action item to approve is the minutes, which I had in my hand while Dave was talking. Has everybody taken a look? Does anybody see anything they want to adjust or make a mention of something? Because after that, we're going to approve them. Who would like to?
I will make that motion.
We've got a motion.
I will do.
We've got a second motion. Okay. Well, go ahead and approve them. Oh, wait, what do I do?
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Minutes approved. Next action item is discussion of and approval of TRAC initiatives. Bob and Leanne will lead the discussion. Nicole, because it says Nicole.
Yeah.
'Cause-
There we are.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole. I work in public engagement and outreach. We've been talking the last few meetings about your TRAC initiatives for 2019. One of the initiatives that you had wanted to continue, or at least the TRAC had decided they wanted to continue, was the TRAC Star Award. So continuing to award our communities, award our cities, our companies that are here in Pinellas County that are working to improve pedestrian and transit access to our bus stops. So that is one of the initiatives up for approval today. The second one was from the last meeting where we discussed you all as TRAC members supporting our outreach efforts. So being our PSTA ambassadors out in the community, whether that's to represent with a PSTA staff person at community events, helping a PSTA staff conduct surveys, essentially being a resource to PSTA staff out in the community as well, teaching folks how to ride the bus and everything in between. So at the last meeting, we had agreed that we would approve this item today. So just wanted to open it up, make sure there was no further discussion. Were there any other questions about these two initiatives and moving on and approving them for the rest of the year? Any questions, comments, concerns? We feel good about it?
Okay, we need a motion. Is everybody okay with the plan?
So the two initiatives for 2019 that you all as TRAC would agree upon would be continuing the TRAC Star Award and being PSTA outreach ambassadors.
And
That's on voluntary basis.
On a voluntary basis, is,
Right.
you know, as you see, as your schedule allows.
do we have a motion? And a second one. What was it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Anybody opposed to this? No. Okay, we're good.
Perfect. All right. I'm very glad that you approved the PSTA outreach opportunities because I believe the next item on our agenda.
Yes. It's also Nicole. At the beginning of the year, wait, she's going to do that part. Background.
Okay. So, now that we're talking about our outreach opportunities, we wanted to give you a little bit more information about what does that mean? What does that look like? And essentially what we're asking of you. So really, some of our goals for doing our outreach is really to just build our PSTA awareness in the community, giving our general public, riders, folks that we're interacting with, a really positive experience with representatives from PSTA. We want to build goodwill amongst our community. We want to show that we care about our riders and we care about the concerns of folks on the bus. So being our Transit Riders Advisory Committee, you all are riders. You all care about the service that we put out in the community. And so that is one of our goals in being out and talking to folks. We want to teach people how to utilize PSTA, how to ride the bus, about Direct Connect, the different services that we offer. And then as well as when we conduct surveys, because we want to gather as much information from our riders as possible, we want to see how folks are using our service, what they think about our service. And so we really want to collect information about our riders, their trip experience, like what do they think about PSTA, how does our bus service work for them. And then really we want to hear what folks are thinking, so we want to collect their comments as well. So those are some of the things that we're asking that you all do when you are out in the community for us. Types of our outreach could look like.
There's a button on the side of that may need to be turned on.
Oh, maybe the battery's dead. No. That's not what it is. Okay. So types of our outreach look like training folks how to ride the bus, how to utilize our programs and services, conducting surveys. So we have a couple of examples of our current opportunities that you are more than welcome to sign up for and volunteer with us. Attending community events. One of your fellow members here who's not here today helped join me at our SPC Welcome Back event. He was very knowledgeable about the service in downtown and was able to answer a lot of different questions that folks had, including, we could go to Welcome Back events, community resource fairs. Pinellas County Schools has us come to a lot of their different events as well. And then we also always need support with our service change outreach. So anytime, 3 times a year when we do service changes, if any one of those is a large service change, then it really helps get the support to be out there and making sure that folks know about the different changes that are happening. So, like I said, we have a few current opportunities that we have, which include both our surveys right now, because it's all hands on deck for our spring break park and ride service that we do in Clearwater Beach, where we have a park and ride lot for folks to park for free and then take our trolley over to the beach for free as well. So we do this in March and April every year to be able to alleviate some of the traffic pressure in Clearwater Beach. And so we are conducting a survey for folks in utilizing that service. We also have a survey on the Looper that we'll be conducting this month and next month to see who's riding it. Are they mostly tourists? Are they local? So those sorts of questions as well. And then obviously thinking about the service changes coming up, June and October, we don't know what those will look like just yet. Our board has not approved any changes for June or October. So really, it could look like a really large scale effort, or it could be just support needed for minor service changes. And then, so a little bit more information about our spring break park and ride survey. Really, we want to find out who is using the service. Is it mostly people in Florida? Is it people in Pinellas County or Hillsborough County or Tampa Bay region? Or are they using it from across the country because they're visiting here and maybe they're staying in Clearwater and they're able to utilize the service? We want to know how many times they've used it. Is it a valuable service that we're offering to our community? And what would they like to see improved? How can we make it better? We've heard over and over again, we wish we had a bus lane on Clearwater Memorial Causeway, but That's not likely, at least for now. So being able to hear and over and over again what people want to see differently and what we could do to improve is really helpful for us moving forward. We will be doing those surveys on the weekends. We know that a majority of the folks visiting Clearwater Beach are going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we want to catch people on the way back to the park and ride because then they would have used it in the beginning, in the morning, and then so we want to catch them on their way back to see what they thought about the service. So we'll be conducting those surveys in the afternoon, approximately 3 to 7 p.m., where we'll get a majority of the folks heading back after their day at the beach. We do anticipate large crowds. Last year when the trolley was coming up, a lot of people were waiting to board the trolley, so that'll be something where there will be more than one person out there with you, but it helps to have additional folks administering those surveys because while the wait time may vary depending on traffic, we'll be able to have their captive attention right there while they're waiting for the trolley to return. So that's one survey. The other survey that we have is our downtown looper. Really, we're trying to find out if they're locals or tourists. You know, what do they think about our looper service? How often do they take it? This one is not as major as the spring break survey because there's just less people using the service and it's more spread out. We would try to gather information from all times of the day. This would include during the week as well as on weekends, trying to gauge and see, do we have people who live in downtown utilizing the looper? And then we can see more or less who is using it. And we really want to gauge that information in the springtime as well, and I know we may return to that in the future. So, oh, and just a point of reference, so we would administer these surveys one-on-one on the looper. It's very easy when you're riding around on the looper. Anyone that comes on the route, it's a quick survey. We have some examples that we can show you so you can see what the quick survey looks like. But for spring break, on the other end, because it's so many people, we would probably distribute surveys and ask folks to fill them out and then return them to us. So there's a few different tactics for administering surveys. And so we'll talk about that as well. The basics of conducting surveys. Really what it comes down to is being friendly, courteous, because when you smile at someone, someone's more likely to engage with you. If you look friendly or if you seem like you'll be friendly to talk to. So here's just some examples of what you might say when you're introducing yourself to someone about to administer a survey. Hello, my name is Nicole. I'm working with PSTA. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? We want to find out what you think about our spring break park and ride service. We want to find out how you're using the looper and what you think about it. It's only take a couple of minutes of your time. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? This will really help us improve our service. And then really, if they don't want to talk to you, that's okay. Not everyone will want to engage, and it's okay to say thank you for your time and move on. And essentially just being very polite and friendly is the end goal, and more than likely they will be willing to answer a few questions, especially if they want to see the service improve. Some other information, just the basics. When you come and participate in our outreach event, whether that's a survey or whether that's riding the bus, whether that's service change, introduce yourself to the PSTA staff, make sure they know that you're there. Smile, like I said, even when someone is upset about PSTA. As we all know, we are not always pleasing everyone. There are going to be some folks that are unhappy with the service that we provide. That's okay too. We want to hear it. We want to know what folks have to say about our service so that way we can always work to improve. Make sure if you're passing out surveys, make sure that folks are able to. So you can always assist folks, take the time to fill it out with them. You can ask them the questions. If you're signing up for a long shift, say 4 hours, feel free to bring snacks or beverages for yourself. We will provide water, but whatever you need to bring with you, that is okay. You can keep it on the bus and consume it on breaks if you're riding the bus, because as we all know, no food or beverages on our bus. And always stay in touch with the operator, make sure that they know you're there when you board the bus, and I always prefer to sit right in the front so that way you catch everyone that comes in too. Our operators will be totally understanding, especially when you're riding the bus with them for a period of time. let them know, ask them when their breaks are, when will they be stopping, do you know if there's a restroom at this location? They ride this route, or they drive the route often, or they know those areas, so they should know, hey, actually, wait a second, we'll be stopping at a restroom by this time. So always just notifying them so that they know that you're there and they know that you'll be riding. Our outreach attire, we are providing a polo with Transit Riders Advisory Committee and the PSTA logo for you. This is for when you are out in the community working with PSTA staff at outreach events. Really, we want you to feel like a part of our team, a part of PSTA, and this is why that we want to provide this resource to you. Dress casually. You know, we understand that it's hot outside as well, so when you're out on the beach, if you're helping us do the spring break surveys, don't torture yourself and wear jeans or pants. You will be out in the sun and it will be warm outside, so dress appropriately, just keep it clean and professional, and not wrinkled. No holes and stains and whatnot. All right, and so how to sign up. So I'm going to show you an example real quick. So we sent out a Sign Up Genius to you all. I don't know if anyone saw it. Did anyone see it? No one did sign up, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Someone got it, okay. So that one is a little bit harder to have varying time slots as well as locations. So we started doing a Google Sheet, so that way you can open it anywhere and it's editable completely. So just so you see an example, this is PSTA staff volunteering to sign up as well. So we have a few shifts because we have, so this means Clearwater Beach Transit Center the south, Clearwater Beach Transit Center north. So this is the new stop where we'll be conducting surveys. This is more of making sure that folks know where they're going when they arrive to the park and ride. So this is an example of what a sign-up sheet might look like, where we would send it to all of you and then you could be able to fill in your information if you're able to volunteer. We don't want you to overcommit yourself, so if you feel like you can't do it, just wait, and maybe if you can always sign up. This will be a living document, so we'll just send you the link and you'll always be able to access it. You do not need a Gmail account to open it either. So this was just our example, so as you can see, we put our staff resources in, all the different weekends, so you can see the dates, and it goes all the way till the end of April here. So you'll see that PSTA staff will be coming out. And if you have questions, myself, Bob, and Juan are the external public engagement team. So we will be the ones asking for your help majority of the time. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Marianne also will have information, and I know that you all coordinate with her a lot. So just feel free to reach out if you're wondering what is expected of you, if that's not clear, if you want to sign up for something but you're not sure yet, just let us know, and we'd love to have your participation as often as possible, as much as you'd like to. And it's really on a volunteer basis. And it can be fun, everyone.
Sure.
So here's just some few, this is Marianne and I out at Pride. So we have a table out at Pride. It's a lot of fun. We do, this was us at Pinellas Park Transit Center with a service change, teaching a group of young students how to ride. Also then Bob and Marianne at Pride, and Juan helping someone navigate our system map. So it can be a lot of fun, especially if you like riding the bus or you like being a part of this community. Folks have a lot of questions about our service, and it's a really cool way to engage with our community as well. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Sure.
I got a question about your transit app.
Yes.
I looked at what you did on Google, on YouTube. You did the YouTube presentation.
I did.
And it was kind of fast. You went through it really quickly.
Okay.
So maybe maybe some of us like to get with you and go through some of the items step by step.
Oh, sure.
And
And that video
understand.
needs to be updated because unfortunately, if you realize that apps get updated often,
Yes.
almost so to the point where that video can be out of date
Yes.
because the app is a little bit different now than it was back then. So I know that we're looking at updating that a little bit, but we can absolutely talk to you about the different, maybe there's something that you don't know about PSTA, maybe it's transit app, how to navigate that. to the fullest extent. We could do a tutorial on Transit app. We could do an information sharing because all of you might have different experiences with that app, for example, and we could really get in the details of how to maximize it so that you can feel confident teaching that to other people. So that's absolutely true. So we can do that.
Can I ask a question? How many people here use Transit app?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we have some experience with Transit app, so being able to help each other as well. Maybe someone didn't know a feature that someone else knows about, things like that. So we can absolutely make sure that you have the tools to feel prepared talking to folks out in the community about PSTA. Any other questions? Comments? Likes? Dislikes? Things you're excited about? Oh, yeah.
I love the questions on the surveys.
Oh, yes.
Really getting down to what's happening in Clearwater and what's happening downtown.
Yeah.
So you really paid attention to what you wanted to know from people.
Absolutely. So here's an example of our spring break survey, just so that you can see. You can take one. So this is an example of our spring break survey. So we're asking folks, how did you find out about it? Was it signage? Was it social media? Was it the city? We want to know that information. We want to know what you think. We also have our Looper survey, which is actually a little bit more fun. So if you want to take a look and pass it down so that way folks can see it.
I guess it hadn't dawned on me, but we're going to have to hand them a pen, aren't we?
Yes, so we'll have clipboards and pens.
Okay,
Yes,
right,
so
right.
we'll make sure that you have the materials that you need to be successful. We'll have the surveys, we'll have clipboards, we'll have pens, we'll have a bottle of water.
It says on a scale of 1 to 5, with 10 being the most
That's
positive.
been updated. This is an outdated printout, everyone. It does
Okay.
say a 5.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you guys do.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's
that
kind
has
of a
been
weird
updated.
scale.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's great. Those are the eyes that we want to see.
That's fine.
I love it.
That you can only be 50% satisfied.
We just
It's
expect you
always-
to be unhappy.
Yeah.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
All right, any other questions, comments? Is anyone really excited about being an ambassador to PSTA in an official capacity? Love to see.
Oh, there was a Looper one.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, we only had a couple of extra Looper ones, so you could pass them.
Pass it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a little fun one. It has some fun questions if you notice. We answered it a little.
I saw hands. Do that again so we can call on you.
Oh, yes.
Dave.
No, no.
No, they're
And then
saying
way down.
Plan to go to last year.
You were excited about it?
Yeah, I thought
That's all.
Yeah.
same.
Great. Any other comments, questions? We good? Oh, yeah.
I know when I'm on the bus, I tell people about the transit app all the time.
Do you?
Some people say they cannot get the app.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get the transit app.
Mhm.
It teaches you what to do.
Exactly.
And you can always set it up 15 minutes early if you want to get the bus up.
Right. Right. There's a lot of features to that
Yeah.
app that folks can utilize that it really helps keep you on time or make sure you don't miss your bus, things
Yeah.
like that.
I have passed out 2 of the ambassador cards that we got last time. I love that, but I forget where they are. Is anybody else passing them out? Because we really
And we have
don't know.
extras too.
Yeah, I need some more.
You need some more? One, would you be willing to bring some over? We have a whole big stack more, so if anyone needs extras, making sure that you can distribute them, you can give a little stack.
Anybody else?
How has it been? Have you had good experiences handing them out? What prompts you to give them out, if I may ask?
I'll bring it up in members.
Okay, great.
I actually, a couple years ago, put them on the back of my business card. I tell you, every time I give them out, I sort of get that, like, you're kind of a weirdo look. Well, because it has my name and my email,
Yeah.
and and so I'd say I'm on this TRAC committee, you should come, and then, or if you don't want to join, drop me an email, I'll tell you about it. And everyone's always like, yeah, okay, but I've never, ever got any feedback on it other than that odd look during that minute. But this will get something from them.
Yes,
Other than,
absolutely.
gee, thanks. But I think, by the way, I'd never thought to show someone the transit app.
Mhm.
That would be like a deliverable that they could use
Yeah.
in the moment
Yeah.
and would give you a little more, rather than just being like this guy who runs up and hands you his card.
Yeah, but another thing too, we're always collecting comments, so if you hear someone or you engage with someone who is talking about what they think about PSTA or what, you know, it's an issue or a positive, negative, whatever that is, you can write it down and email that to us. You can email it to the engage@psta.net, comment from a writer on the Route 4, you know, here are comments I heard today, I was at Pinellas Park Transit Center. Absolutely, collect those, just shoot those off in an email to engage@psta.net, and we would absolutely love to collect those. So that's something else that you can do is say, hey, I know exactly who to send this to if you hear someone talking about PSTA.
And that's part of an ongoing database that Juan and Nicole maintain and have for a few years now.
Yeah, yeah. We want to see trends, you know, are folks asking for the same things? Are they, you know, what are our riders concerned about? All right, no other questions? Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of time. No motion, these are just information items.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nicole?
Thank you.
I got her name right.
Service
The next information item is proposed service adjustments. Bob Blasher.
This time I will, and this is just a quick review of the presentation this group got back in January from Brad. That's when you were the first ones we brought it to when we were going through the budget and the issues, and those were when the routes were identified that are going to be brought to the board next month for their official vote. And we are going to be having a public hearing in this facility downstairs in the boardroom on April 10th at 6 p.m. We wanted to have it here, we wanted to have it in the evening because we have the bus service here. But, and I'll take you through the routes again that they were looking at to eliminate would be the 22, the 58, Safety Harbor and Dunedin connector routes. We'd take away the portion of the 5 that was west of Grand Central and extend the Route 9 to pick up that portion, and then take the Route 16 out of an area of 38th Avenue North, and we would have the Route 38 actually pick that up in Coffee Pot Bayou. Now those are the recommendations going to the board. If you saw the article in the Times, I think it was a weekend before last, I can tell you it's a little encouraging when you see some of the comments from our board members. They are really working to look at other funding sources locally to not take these routes out. Even last month, if you made it to the end of the board meeting, and there were a lot of comments. They are working very hard to try not to make these things happen. So we'll see what happens. That board meeting, I think, is on the 27th of April. Yes, sir.
The connector, is that also a funding issue?
Yes, all of them, every one of them. It's, and what they do is you're looking at funding, and then they look at the routes that are producing the fewest people on and off as they travel. Or in the case of the 5 and putting the 9 in, or the 16, where we have good parallel service, and people will have other options.
Yeah, if I can say, me personally, since I've joined TRAC, I first lost my bus on McMullen Booth, and I lost the 66, and now I'm going to lose the Safety Harbor. Was it something I said? But you know, I can't carry that service myself. I mean, you need more than one customer, and generally the folks up in Safety Harbor don't support transit. They voted against green light when they had a chance. They'd all rather have a car. They'd all rather park it in a lot. They'd all rather pay for their own gas. God be with you guys. It serves you right. You know, so we'll figure out a way to do it when we get it together.
Yeah, Dave and I are in the same shoes.
Yeah, that's right. As a matter of fact, we're pretty much neighbors.
Started at PSTA on, I had 3 routes that were walkable, 2 right by my
Right.
house. I have none of them now.
Right, and, you know, 10 little, 9 little, 8 little bus routes, and there we go. So, and again, I voted to, because it's just reality. I can't carry that bus route myself. There it goes.
Will all the votes be, each route will be voted on individually? It won't be like one.
I don't think they do that individually, but what if they decide to cut just some, then they would probably have to make a motion to say, change what is being presented to them, say, okay, see what they consensus is to maybe just cut one or two routes. They do have the option of doing that, but I don't think they go down the list and say, cut yay or nay. I think they'll take it as a group.
It's a plan.
Yeah.
It's really a plan. They might send the plan back to be
They can do that as
readjusted
well.
and then come back.
And they can reject it all out and say, take the money out of reserves and keep running it.
Well, that many people use the bus for their livelihood every day, like 58, I think that should get a lot more consideration than one that really isn't used number-wise at all.
And they do take that into consideration. All of the comments that we have been getting since this first came out, particularly, well, even if they call us, email us at Engage or email us directly, those are going into a database. They will get that. We're keeping the comments because they pertain to these cuts, so they will have that. And that's the information on it.
All right, thank you, Bob. Anybody else with questions before we move on? Are we good?
One of the things that during the weekends that I liked the connector is to get to Tampa because of the 300X and the 100X. We go straight from Gandy all the way downtown. So I guess you're going.
That connector will still run. That's not on the list.
Oh, okay. I thought
That's the Tampa. The two on the list are Safety Harbor and the Dunedin.
Oh, the safe. Okay.
They're the ones that sweep through the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Go down
Yeah.
through the actual.
Okay, member comments. One, okay, go ahead.
It's been brought to my attention because I ride the bus like 3 or 4 times a week for the number 22. And I get people, because they look up things, and I've been told, because that bus goes to 52 route, it goes to up and down 22nd, Tyrone Boulevard. It does have people on it. Every time I get on it, there's people. And they don't want it to be cut because some people go to school, people go to Lowe's, Home Depot, or they go to Wawa's, or they just catch to go to shopping, go to work. And when they were told it was being cut, they came to me because they know I'm on the track team. And I just gave them my business card with the Engage on it. And I was told by a Uber driver that anybody under 17 cannot ride an Uber by themselves. And I was told that, under 18, because it's not safe, I guess. And a lot of the people that ride the 22 at night cannot catch the Uber because they're under 18. And I was told to bring that up tonight. The 22.
I had a comment on the 22 because I do also ride the 22, and I know at times the ridership does appear to be low on that. But it's Tyrone Mall over to the Old Northeast, and I think the Tyrone Mall is one of those malls, like you mentioned, Seminole Mall before in the public comments, that it is getting busier. So there might be a trend to look at there because they have tried to revitalize that mall as well, and there are new businesses.
Right.
And see if you're there's other feedback as well about it becoming a more important route. It might be a way to look at the trend there. Because, I'd love to keep the 22. I love riding it.
So do I.
As you said, one person can't keep a route alive, but people do care about it.
Go ahead.
And I've been hearing, it was just yesterday morning, like a couple of students on the 5 were worried about how they're going to be able to get over to the SBC campus, since the 5 goes right by there. So there were a couple, like, one of them was like an older guy who was like an adult education guy, and one of them was like a teenager, and they were both talking back and forth and really concerned about that.
We'll route the 18 in
Okay.
Oh, this is the
they
Gibbs
were-
campus.
there. Oh, I'm sorry, the Gibbs camp, never mind.
The Route 7 is on the north side of that, on 9th, so the north side of the campus. So I know the Route 7 will remain, but maybe we can connect about the
Yeah,
students.
does that come from like the sort of, because it's on sort of like the far like eastern end of the route, because I think they got on around like 9th Street, or like they got on around MLK or so.
Okay. And
So
then
they were like
all the
going
way
from
over
like MLK-ish all the way to SBC.
to
Yeah.
66.
You also have the Route 79 that goes past.
Yeah,
And then
I
Route
was-
79
the
is
same
also
thing.
Okay,
right by.
okay.
So that is, so there are 2 other routes that serve the campus, but we know that that was the connection point from downtown all the way over. So maybe we could touch base about that, because we could do some outreach at the Gibbs campus as well.
Okay.
Okay, more questions, more concerns?
No, I was just agreeing with the gentleman that said 79, because, you know, it's right across the street. They'll just have to cross the street to get to that campus from the 79.
Okay. Other business? PSTA shirt distribution. I think she
Pretty much.
needs this.
Should, everybody should have gotten their shirts.
Anyone missing one?
And an assignment.
Yes.
Wear them
Wear that
at
shirt.
an outreach event.
Yes.
And it is a good time of year to go out in the marina and survey people and talk to them that are on the downtown looper. So we'll look forward to that. We will be out there.
So you should see an
This
email.
was a great first meeting. Thank you, everybody. All right, I can do it. And if we're all done, we'll adjourn the meeting.
All right, very good. Yep, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been here for a couple of years.
When I got on my Friday,
I like that. Seems to be good. I like
Oh, I often home today because it was the weather was kind of rainy.
same thing.
I
I had it all written out right here.
Yeah, I agree. You can get some, and you know, there's a lot of residential on one end of it.
Yeah.